But what we need to talk to Merce about now is what happened at the Emirates today.
Arsenal's trip to St James Park was expected to be one of the toughest fixtures in their Premier League campaign, but nobody could have predicted the level of controversy that would dominate the post-match conversations. In a game filled with tension, passion, and high stakes, the focus shifted away from footballing brilliance and onto the officiating, as Arsenal were left furious when Victor Gyökeres was denied what many described as a stonewall penalty. The incident, which occurred in the first half, sparked outrage from fans, players, and pundits alike, reigniting the ever-growing debate about the role and reliability of VAR in modern football. The crucial moment came when Gyökeres, Arsenal's new attacking weapon, latched onto a perfectly timed through ball and surged into the Newcastle penalty area. With his pace and power, he got to the ball a split second before Newcastle goalkeeper Nick Pope, nudging it past him with a deft touch that seemed destined to result in a goal-scoring opportunity. Pope, however, came flying out of his goal and clattered straight into Gyökeres, taking the striker down in dramatic fashion. Arsenal supporters inside the stadium immediately screamed for a penalty, the Arsenal players surrounded referee Jarrad Gillett in disbelief, and even neutrals watching on TV could hardly believe what they had just seen. It was the kind of challenge that would be given as a foul anywhere else on the pitch without hesitation. Yet, to the astonishment of everyone, Gillett waved play on. The Australian referee's decision not to award the penalty stunned the Arsenal bench, with Mikel Arteta visibly furious on the sidelines. But if Arsenal fans thought VAR would quickly correct the mistake, they were wrong. After a lengthy check, the VAR team astonishingly concluded that there was no clear and obvious error. The match continued without a penalty, leaving Arsenal robbed of a golden chance to take the lead in a game that could have huge implications for the Premier League title race. What followed was a storm of anger and disbelief. Arsenal fans erupted online, branding the decision one of the worst of the season. Social media was flooded with clips of the incident, slowed down and zoomed in, showing clearly how Pope made no contact with the ball and instead crashed straight into Gyökeres. Pundits like Thierry Henry, Ian Wright, and Gary Neville weighed in, calling it a shocking call and a disgrace to the integrity of the competition. Even rival fans admitted that the penalty should have been awarded, with some joking that Arsenal might need to start playing games without referees to get a fair outcome. For Arsenal, the sense of injustice was overwhelming. This wasn't the first time VAR had left them feeling hard done by, but this incident seemed particularly egregious. A striker clean through on goal, taken out by the goalkeeper, and still no penalty. It was the kind of decision that undermined faith in the entire system. Arteta, speaking after the game, didn't hold back. He described the call as unacceptable and said that moments like this were destroying the credibility of football. His frustration mirrored that of millions of Arsenal supporters who couldn't comprehend how the technology, designed to eliminate such errors, had once again failed them. The psychological impact of the decision on the Arsenal players was evident. Gyökeres, who had been full of energy and sharp movement, seemed visibly deflated after the incident. His teammates continued to push, creating chances and trying to break down Newcastle's stubborn defense, but the sense that they had been cheated lingered throughout the match. Every challenge, every refereeing decision afterward was met with suspicion, as Arsenal struggled to shake off the feeling of being victims of a grave injustice. Newcastle, for their part, played with grit and determination, but even their fans were left scratching their heads about how they had escaped conceding a penalty. Some Magpie supporters admitted that the call was baffling, though they were more than happy to benefit from the officials' generosity. In the stands, boos and chants directed at the officials became a constant backdrop, highlighting just how much the moment had soured the spectacle. The Premier League prides itself on being the most competitive league in the world, but incidents like this threaten to tarnish that reputation. Supporters pay high prices for tickets, travel long distances, and invest emotionally in their teams, only to see games decided not by footballing quality but by refereeing controversies. The refusal to award Arsenal the penalty not only robbed them of a potential lead but also altered the dynamics of the match entirely. A goal at that stage would have forced Newcastle to open up, creating more space for Arsenal to exploit. Instead, the match dragged on with Newcastle able to remain compact, frustrating Arsenal and limiting their attacking options. Beyond the immediate frustration, there are also bigger questions about what this means for the title race. Every point matters at this stage of the season, and decisions like this can ultimately define who lifts the trophy and who falls short. Arsenal, chasing glory under Arteta, cannot afford to be handicapped by such blatant errors. Fans and pundits alike are calling for accountability, demanding explanations from the refereeing body and insisting that reforms must be made to restore trust in the system. The debate over VAR has raged ever since its introduction, but Arsenal's experience at St James Park may be one of the clearest examples of its failings. Supporters were told that the technology would make football fairer, removing the controversy that comes from human error. Instead, it seems to have created even more problems. The lack of consistency, the secrecy around decision-making, and the inability to correct obvious mistakes have left many questioning whether VAR is fit for purpose. For Arsenal, however, the anger will linger long after the debate fades. Players like Gyökeres will wonder how such a clear foul went unpunished. Fans will remember the sense of being robbed in one of the biggest games of the season. And Arteta will know that these moments can make the difference between success and heartbreak. As the dust settles, one thing is certain: Arsenal's clash with Newcastle will not be remembered for the goals scored or the football played, but for a refereeing decision that stunned the footballing world. Victor Gyökeres was denied the chance to step up and put Arsenal ahead from the spot, and instead, the story became one of injustice and controversy. In a league that claims to be the best in the world, nights like this raise uncomfortable questions about fairness, accountability, and whether the system designed to help referees is instead failing the very game it was meant to protect.